Viewer discretion is strongly advised. The following content is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is the verbatim federal courtroom testimony from the Sean Diddy Combs trial, as reported by Inner City Press. The courtroom fell deathly silent as 50 Cent, known for his sharp tongue and no-nonsense demeanor, took the stand. What followed would become the most unexpected and explosive testimony of the entire Diddy trial. For years, 50 had been roasting Diddy online, dropping cryptic jokes, sly accusations, and viral posts, but no one expected him to step into a federal courtroom and lay it all out under oath. Now, as prosecutors dug deeper into a mounting series of trafficking and misconduct charges, 50 was ready to pull back the curtain on a hidden world no one was supposed to speak about. This wasn't just gossip or rumors. He came armed with receipts, names, dates, and moments that exposed the industry's worst-kept secret, finally laid bare on record. The judge warned the gallery to keep calm, but the atmosphere crackled with tension, because what 50 said next, and who he named, shifted everything. Cent's long-running feud with Diddy didn't start in this courtroom. It began years ago in whispers, interviews, and viral social media jabs. For years, 50 had been the only rapper bold enough to publicly call out Diddy's behavior, often cloaked in humor, but always carrying deeper implications. In 2014, 50 posted a meme hinting at an unexpected closeness between Diddy and Rick Ross, a post that made headlines and sparked rumors. Most dismissed it as trolling, but the barbs kept coming. Then, in 2018, during a guest spot on The Breakfast Club, 50 shared a moment with Diddy that gave him suspect vibes. He recalled Diddy inviting him shopping and saying, "I'll pay for it." 50 raised an eyebrow and said, "Yo, what grown man invites another man shopping and offers to pay?" The room laughed, but the message was clear. This was no innocent joke. By 2022, when lawsuits started flooding in with multiple accusers coming forward, 50's tone hardened. He posted on Instagram, "Told you," sharing headlines about Cassie's lawsuit and calling out years of dirty games behind closed doors. Fans began to see 50 not as a troll, but as a whistleblower, someone who'd been trying to warn the public for years. Now, under oath, 50 Cent was done playing games. Called as a surprise witness, his job was to shed light on the man behind the mogul mask. Drawing on industry events, private meetings, and bizarre personal encounters, he painted a picture that left no room for doubt. According to insiders, 50 presented a list, not just of incidents, but of names, artists, collaborators, and victims. And it started with a name everyone already suspected. His testimony began with Usher. He told the court what fans had long speculated, that Usher had lived with Diddy at a young age, and what happened during that time raised troubling questions. No one had dared answer. "I'm not saying Usher told me anything," 50 clarified, "but we all knew about the flavor camp. That's what Puff called it. Usher was just 14, Puff was a grown man, and we all wondered, what the hell is a teenage boy doing living with a man like Diddy?" He referenced Usher's awkward 2016 Howard Stern interview, where the singer danced around the subject but never really explained. "There were curious things Usher said, but he never went deep," 50 said. "That boy looked like he had something he wanted to say, but Puff has that power that makes people quiet." And then described an event where he saw Diddy and Usher interact years later. There was this weird tension between them, not like "we're busy" tension, but "you know what you did" tension. When prosecutors asked if 50 had proof, recordings, witnesses, statements, he shook his head. "This industry, it don't work on paper trails," he said bluntly. "It's all backstage whispers, what we see when the cameras go off. And when I say people know, I mean everyone knows. They're just too scared to say it." And then, just as the courtroom held its breath, 50 did. Something no one expected happened when 50 Cent pulled out a folded sheet of paper from inside his jacket pocket. Holding it up, he said, "This ain't a hit list. This is a truth list. These are the names I know, the names I've heard, and the names I believe. Because this isn't just about Diddy being creepy. It's about how he used his power to pull young stars in. The first name he revealed was Usher Raymond, who was young and vulnerable at the time, and according to 50, Diddy was grooming him. The courtroom gasped, and the judge quickly reminded everyone to stay silent, but this was just the beginning. After naming Usher, 50 shifted to rapper Fabulous, who had recently appeared on the Drink Champs podcast looking visibly uncomfortable. During that episode, Diddy kept asking Fabulous why they never partied together, but Fabulous just nervously laughed and avoided eye contact. In court, 50 described how he saw Fabulous shrink in his chair when Diddy pressed him, not joking, but out of real fear. He even recalled a private industry event where Diddy cornered Fabulous, making him uncomfortable enough that he wanted to leave. This matched Fabulous's own Instagram story about sneaking out of a Diddy party early in the morning because he never wanted to be there. According to 50, Fabulous was only there because of pressure, and that's how Puff operates, by pressuring people. The jury was stunned when 50 revealed he personally warned younger rappers to stay away from being alone with Diddy. Don't take gifts. Don't go to his house. And never agree to any party after the party. That's when things get dark, he warned. But what had the courtroom buzzing was when he said there was an entire group of artists, bodyguards, and assistants with stories to tell, but Puff used lawyers, power, and fear to keep them silent. When asked if he would name everyone on his list, 50 looked directly at Diddy and said, "Oh yeah, this is just the warm-up." The most surprising name on the list was Justin Bieber. 50 said, "This one's gonna hurt some of y'all." He explained that many still saw Justin as that little kid with the bowl cut, but Puff had him around early in his career, and it unsettled many insiders. He referenced a notorious video where Diddy said he had Justin for 48 hours, making it sound playful, but under oath, 50 revealed that insiders knew what that really meant. It wasn't about mentoring. It was about exposing a 15-year-old to things no teenager should see, especially at 2 a.m. in Miami. 50 made it clear that while he didn't witness anything directly, he heard from people close to Justin who were too scared to speak up. Ben went on to explain that Bieber eventually distanced himself from Diddy, even nervously joking in an interview that he wouldn't let his own child go to Flavor Camp. 50 said that wasn't a joke, but a painful memory. He described Justin's later breakdowns and emotional trauma as partly caused by the dark side of fame, a darkness orchestrated by Puff, who finds young talent, promises them the world, then controls them with gifts and silence. When asked if Bieber ever spoke out publicly, 50 admitted no, but said Justin spoke volumes by what he didn't say and how quickly he moved away from Puff when he had the chance. As the jury absorbed this, Diddy reportedly looked down, expressionless, while the courtroom buzzed with tension. The courtroom was on edge as 50 Cent reached the part of his list that included people even closer to the streets, secrets only. He had the courage to reveal. Pausing, he looked directly at Diddy and said, "This next one, it ain't just hearsay. I got it straight from the man who saw it himself." Silence fell over the room as 50 began to tell the story of John Deal, Diddy's longtime bodyguard. Gene had spoken before in interviews, but now his story was being told under oath. According to 50, Gene described a strange shopping trip to an adult bookstore where Puff was buying racks of toys and other things no one wanted to imagine, with Gene carrying the bags as security. But the real shock came after, on a flight to a show in North Carolina. Gene testified that Puff and Ja Rule went into a private suite, with Gene posted outside as guard. Minutes later, Ja Rule opened the door, stuck his head out, and warned Gene, "Yo, you might not want to come in here, it's a little freaky in here tonight." The courtroom tensed as prosecutors asked what that meant. 50 didn't hold back. It wasn't candles or bubble baths, it was something far darker. Ja Rule never spoke publicly about it, and 50 explained why. "That's what I've been saying for years. Nobody wanted to say anything, not until now. But I'm here and I'm saying it." His goal wasn't to shame, but to expose a pattern of coercion, how power was used to manipulate others. It wasn't about sexuality, it was about control. The Ja Rule incident was just one of many things that happened behind closed doors, silenced by fame and NDAs. But the damage stayed. Ja Rule never spoke up, but he was never the same again, just like many others 50 hadn't even named yet. Next, 50 turned to a newer face. Why Osiris? He said he saw all the warning signs long before the public did. The young artist blew up with one hit, then Puff showed up. Suddenly, Osiris started changing. Same playbook, 50 said. Diddy lured him in with luxury trips, mentorship promises, and a rumored getaway to Jamaica. What many thought was just a vacation. Just a vacation. 50 explained that Puff never took anyone anywhere without expecting something in return. When Osiris posted pictures from Jamaica, same hotel, same beaches, same week as Diddy, fans noticed, but Osiris tried to laugh it off, saying he was with his girl. It didn't feel right to insiders who knew the game. Then came the Instagram Live meltdown. Osiris crying, ranting about feeling alone in the industry, hinting that no one knew what was really going on. 50 played the clip for the Eye. Court saying, "That boy was breaking down and nobody helped. That's what happens when Puff discards you." 50 tied Osiris's emotional breakdown back to Diddy's pattern, finding young talent, showering them with attention, gifts, and trips, then letting them fall apart while he walks away clean. When prosecutors asked if Osiris ever made further statements, the room waited as the implications settled over the courtroom. The tension was palpable. Scent didn't make direct accusations, but the signs were clear. That meltdown, it's what people do when they're trapped in something they can't explain. As the courtroom absorbed yet another name on the list, 50 ended with a chilling reminder. How many young black artists had a breakdown before? Y'all see the pattern. This ain't no coincidence. This is a system, and Puff is at the center. When 50 brought up the next name, tension gripped the room. "Let's talk about Usher," he said flatly. "This one," he added, "has been right in people's faces for years, but nobody wanted to say nothing." He began by recalling a now infamous clip where Usher talked about living with Diddy as a teenager. Usher was only 14 at the time, and Puff had him at what they called flavor camp. But 50 asked, what kind of grown man invites a teenage boy to come live with him like that? He quoted Usher himself, saying, "We used to wake up back in the days. When he was like 10 and I was older, we used to fight over the frosted flakes." 50 looked across the jury and said, "Ain't nobody asking why these grown men were sleeping in the same house like that. Why Usher sounded nervous and laughing when he said it." The court then heard a clip of Diddy live streaming and saying, "Me and Usher used to sleep together," followed by an awkward pause and a quick, "no homo." That moment was supposed to be a joke, but 50 didn't laugh. That wasn't a joke, that was a man slipping up. He explained that the Usher situation had always bothered people inside the industry. People whispered about it, not because of orientation, but because Usher was a kid, and we all knew Puff had power. If Puff wanted you around, you didn't say no. 50 pointed out how Usher changed after that early exposure. You think it's a coincidence he's always been tight-lipped about that part of his life? You think it's just trauma from the industry? Nah, it's from what he's seen, what he was part of. To this day, Usher never directly denies the rumors. He dances around it, laughs it off, shrugs, and moves on. That's not someone comfortable. That's someone scared. As he closed that part of his testimony, 50 said something that stayed with everyone in the room. Sometimes it ain't about what they say, it's about what they never say. Next came a surprising pair of names, Fabulous and Kevin Hart. You might think they got nothing to do with this, 50 told the court, but I saw it. I know what they saw. He brought up a strange Drink Champs interview where Diddy flirted with Fabulous on air, asking why they never partied together. You could see Fab's face. That man looked shook, 50 said. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't joking. He looked like he was being reminded of something. Then came the infamous Kevin Hart livestream moment when Diddy jokingly said he used to wake up with Usher, and Kevin's face dropped. Go look at Kevin's reaction, 50 said. That wasn't a laugh. That was fear. That was a man thinking, I hope this dude don't say too much. 50 claimed both Kevin and Fabulous had been exposed to environments they never signed. Up for 50 explained that Puff always throws the wildest parties, but he don't let you bring your security. Why do you think that is? He recounted stories of secret rooms, confiscated phones, NDAs, and wild party rituals involving substances, blindfolds, and things guests only whispered about afterward. Once you've been to one of those parties, he owns you, 50 said. Kevin Hart and Fabulous were just two examples of men who tried to laugh it off, but whose faces told a different story. You ever seen a man laugh while dying inside? He asked. Watch those clips again. He added, it ain't always about what happened. Sometimes it's about what you were pressured into, what you were made to feel like you owed. That's how Puff works. The jury didn't need convincing. The videos were public, and now, under oath, the nervous laughter was finally explained. The courtroom fell silent as 50 pulled a folded sheet of paper from his jacket. This, he said, is the list, the one people said didn't exist. He began reading names slowly and carefully. Usher, YK Osiris, Justin Bieber, Ja Rule, Bow Wow, Trey Songz, Kevin Hart, Fabulous, and more. Some I ain't even gonna say, 'cause they're not ready yet, but they will be. The court was stunned. These weren't minor names. These were cultural icons, artists whose careers had been shaped by fame, power, and silence. Puff didn't do this alone, 50 said. He had a whole system, people who looked the other way, who helped cover it up, who cleaned up his messes. He explained that the silence, it wasn't just fear, it was protection. Everyone signed NDAs, legally binding silence, warned they'd never work again if they spoke out. Some believed it. 50 added that not everyone on the list was a victim. Some were collaborators who helped recruit others and benefited from the system. But I won't name them, not today. When asked why he decided to testify, 50 answered simply, because I've seen too many people fall apart, too many breakdowns, I got kids and I'm not letting this man do it to the next generation. He finished by saying, this trial ain't about one video, it ain't about Cassie, it ain't even about money. It's about the power this man used to break people, to ruin people, and I ain't staying quiet no more. The courtroom didn't clap or cheer. It sat in stunned silence. Because when someone like 50 Cent, feared and respected by nearly everyone, sits down and names names, the game changes. As the courtroom emptied that day, it wasn't just Diddy who looked shaken. It was the entire industry. What 50 had done wasn't just testify, he'd opened Pandora's box. Headlines exploded immediately. 50 Cent names names in Diddy trial. Freak-off scandal expands. Is hip-hop's power structure crumbling? But the real fallout started behind the scenes. PR teams went into overdrive. Lawyers drafted cease and desist letters. Celebrities who once posted vacation photos with Diddy suddenly went silent. Social media feeds were wiped, comments disabled, and some deleted entire pages overnight. Sources close to the courtroom revealed that several high-profile names mentioned in 50's testimony were extremely worried about subpoenas. Next, they're lawyering up. One insider said, "This thing's about to get a lot bigger." In Hollywood, whispers grew louder. Agents distanced their clients. Endorsement deals quietly paused. Studios and streaming services reevaluated. Partnerships with bad boy-affiliated artists. Even Kevin Hart, who had laughed off Diddy's antics on live TV, canceled 2 appearances the following week, citing family time. Meanwhile, fans flooded online forums, digging up old interviews, cryptic quotes, and long-forgotten posts. Every Drink Champs episode, every Instagram Live, every awkward red carpet exchange was suddenly analyzed under a harsh new light. This is the Nalorf Me Too moment for male artists. One Twitter user wrote, "And it's just starting." Most chilling was what came out about the NDAs. Multiple former bad boy artists privately confirmed to investigative reporters they had signed contracts barring them from ever speaking negatively about Sean Combs, his family, business partners, or even his events. One clause forbade disclosing unusual behavior witnessed at gatherings. But 50 didn't care. The morning after his testimony, he posted on Instagram, writing, "They tried to cancel me before. I dare him to try again. Y'all not going to shut me up while these people suffer." He included a photo of himself in front of the courthouse with the simple caption, "More names coming soon." The silence was over, And for the first time, the machine that protected the untouchables might actually be cracking.